was considering doing this video while I was still in New York on the last day, and thought, no, wait till I get back to where I live. I got back yesterday. So I got back from New York yesterday into Manchester with my travelling partner. Hello Becky, my travel partner and accommodation partner. I thought we arrived into Manchester about 7:15. Hi Jules. And we got a train back, meant we were in London by about 11:30ish or so, by Sonia. And I got back to Eastbourne about 2ish. Went in, got into my flat, just got rid of my stuff, lay down and did pretty much nothing. I had some food in, so I used a little bit of that for something last night and something this morning. I've been out and done stuff. The purpose of this video really is it's the completion of the week in New York. I want to give my own views about the week itself, not just the cube, but the whole thing, my health, how I'm feeling, etc., etc. And I think I owe this to everyone who's helped me, whether it's get to New York or whether it's helping me with this, what I have to do to get myself healthy so that my body can get rid of the cancer that's in my body. So please feel free to listen and join in, make any comments you want as we go. I'm really not going to hold any punches, I'm just going to say things as they come. It may seem petty to you, but they're important to me because, well, we'll start with the thing that is most recent. Hi Shelley. Yeah, different now. In the UK it's about 6:30 or so, and in your part of the world it's 5 hours behind, so it's about 1:30, 12 where you are, Shelley, possibly. Anyway, as I said, I'm going to mention something that happened most recently, which is why I want to make the video, because there's things that have just gone on. Perhaps my own language hasn't helped, but things that I've seen that really have annoyed me and make me understand, help me understand, don't make me understand, help me understand why we put up with so much fucking mediocrity. As I said, I had food in the fridge, enough to eat yesterday and have something for breakfast this morning. So rather than try and do it in the heat of the day, and I wanted to, even more behind in where you are, Shelley. Yeah, rather than try and do it in the heat today, I waited until this afternoon, and I've gone out and gone to the superstore where I know I can get organic food. It's interesting because managed to get the trains have been delayed, points failure or something, so it meant I was slightly delayed getting out there. It's only one stop on the train, not far to go, about 4 minutes or so. It's just easier to get to than the bus, and I have a travel card so I can reduce the fare. Of course, in a resource-based economy, points things would not be of relevance, and trains would be actually forward-thinking and advanced and would be doing so much more. However, that meant that the trains were likely to be delayed coming back. And it's just as well they were, because I met a lady in the store. I haven't seen her for a while. I know her son, and I've met her granddaughters from her son, and I don't know whether there's any other kids. I only know the son. Anyway, it turns out that I haven't seen her for a while, and she was at Age Concern, or I think it's called Age UK now, when I volunteered there one morning a week for 2 hours to help them with art. I think I made quite an impression, because when I left, they were saying all sorts of lovely things, and they didn't want me to go, and every one of them, whatever their level or proficiency, even if they were better than me, and some of them were, their level of proficiency raised a notch or two or more, because of my approach and the way that it was. It wasn't like school. It was basically, I'm here, if you've got questions, ask. If not, do what you want. I will show you techniques, but I'm not really going to do much. It's you. You choose your subject, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, so haven't seen her for a while, and I told her where I've just been and about the guided water fast that's coming up and why. And she said, oh, she's got to go to the hospital tomorrow. So I'm hoping that her results are far better than the ones that I got. Although, the way I look at it, getting those results has meant that I've actually got to do something now about healing my immune system and letting my body heal itself and get rid of all this crap. It was as when I got back on the train, the guard, the ticket inspector, says, can I see your ticket please? So I get my ticket out and I show her, and she said, awesome. And I'm thinking, awesome? For showing my fucking train ticket because you asked me? No wonder we put up with fucking hypocrisy. Mediocrity. And we don't really allow the world to be amazing. So, going back to, this is quite good actually doing it from the end, because that way I can actually deal with the issues that are most recent, but actually have a relevance to what I want to say about New York. Anyway, first off, about New York. Both Ethel and I were glad to be leaving, but in ways we were both sad to be leaving. The pair of us. And I want to thank you on behalf of Ethel as well, because as much as she really had a fear of flying and really was scared and said she didn't want to go and she wouldn't go, but she did, by actually doing this and coming back, it's helped her overcome her fears. Now, by you helping me get there, I've helped her overcome these fears, and she will now in future be able to fly back to the part of the planet that she's from and that her parents live to see them will make it so much quicker for her. Doesn't mean to say that she's not going to have those fears. She's just going to realise, having actually flown back from that part of the planet just before, well, relatively recently before we went to New York, you've helped her overcome these fears. So thank you everyone who's hi Maria. So that's enabled me to help her. But yes, both of us were glad in a way that we were back. Certainly not me because of being homesick. You'll understand why as we go through and I explain other issues. But there were some, whilst New York was everything that I fucking despise, there were some really, really amazing experiences and I met some truly wonderful people through those experiences. And if I hadn't have been there, I wouldn't have met them and I wouldn't have been able to make this video and talk about these issues. I think this is what I'm going to do more. Anyway, so so why was I at Hereford? So why was I out I was out at the supermarket getting food. I paid £52. Sorry I don't have a mind that automatically knows the exchange rates if you're tuning in outside of Europe and are not familiar with what £1 buys you with. Hi John. But it bought me 3 packs of avocados, 2 avocados. I got 2 wherever organic, I'll say they were organic. These were organic. I got 2 cartons of strawberries organic. I got a carton of or a pannet of organic nectarines or a pannet of organic plums. I got a pack of 6 organic apples. I got 2 organic cucumbers. I got a pack of 4 organic pears. I got 2 packs of carrots organic with the fern still on because they didn't have the regular organic carrots. I got 2 packs of kale, 1 pack of kale, 1 pack of rainbow chard, trying to think what else, a pack of 4 organic tomatoes, trying to think what else, let me have a rummage around and see if anything comes to mind. I got 3 packs of 4 organic unwaxed oranges. I got an 800 gram pack of cherries. I got about 9 or 10, probably 10 organic bananas. I got a lot of food for £52, most of it organic. And that's what I want to say. So this is one of the reasons why I've glad I'm back, is because buying food and I knew this would happen, but that's what I expected, and it was one of the things that the extra donations went to help me with. Was that the fund was set up principally to get me to New York and to help out with accommodation. I can't remember whether it was £650 or £750 that Andy kindly set up a GoFundMe for. But we got to almost £1,000 in the fund. So that helped me with food and other expenses, travel expenses within New York. It was quite expensive to travel. I bought a travel, like a Metro card that could be used by up to 4 people at a time. And at first Ethel and I were using it. And it was $2.75 per ride. So if the both of us were getting on at the same time, it was $5.50 each way, which is what we were doing at first when we were going to events or the Cube, or we travelled together from New York, from JFK, obviously. As we were staying in the same place, it made fucking sense. But so we did that for a few days, and then obviously there was the Monday when I went up to Boston. We didn't see each other until I got back that night. I can't remember, but as I said, things were happening. We were doing our own thing in a way, so that was good. We did the events, but we weren't always on the same time. We were in different places, although we were right in the same one. Hello, Sandra. So, so the thing with the food, well, partly, I'm using the sort of food that I've just described as part of my healing my or allowing my body to heal by putting in what it should be having and eliminating processed stuff, refined salts, oil, sugar. These things occur in plants, and they help us get used to. Hello, Olivia. They help us get used to eating processed food, which is partly responsible. Hi, TJ. I hope you stay and listen to this. This is I've got the time to listen, but this is really important. It's about New York. It's about the fun. It's about my health. It's about lots of things. It's about activism. It's about how I feel about so many different things. And it's my last feed, basically, finishing off New York. Hello, Oliver. So, yes, I've bought this lovely food and I'm using it as part of healing me, but it obviously, it's so much cheaper. And this is, as I said, this is why I need to make this feed, so I can thank everyone, so they can see just how that if you contributed to the fund to get me to New York, now at least you know where the money went, because I can tell you the sort of prices that things were, and you deserve that respect for helping me get there, and also see how if you contributed to the alternative cancer treatment or therapy fund, then you'll understand why it's important that I keep doing this and follow this regime, and why it's difficult, and that your funding and your wonderful donations, whether it's been money or whether it's been materials, whether it's been whatever it's been, and however you've donated, whether it's getting me to an appointment somewhere, whether it's getting me to hospital appointments, whether it's providing information. However you've helped me, every single aspect of it is so greatly appreciated, and I really think it's important that I speak how I feel rather than just write a written thing where I can't, I can change the wording, but I'm honest, I take my time to write so that I write it as I say, but this way you're hearing it live, and there's going to be things that you like, might be things that you won't like, but I don't really care in that respect. I think one of the things that you like about me most is that I'm honest, and I say it as I find it. There's no point. So this way, sorry about that. Something cut in, and the video got stopped. So this way, I help people because I've learned from this. All I'm doing is showing what I learned, whether it's my own experience or what I learned from the people that I meet, and in the way in which I respond, because I think it's appropriate, whether it's to let someone know that I'm not happy or whether it's to let people know that I am. So it was expensive eating out in New York, plus it meant that I was eating a lot more refined foods than I was before I left here, and I think it's important that you know that I haven't been eating totally raw, but now I'm back. I'm going to get back into that regime because I see just how bloody important it is in my healing process, and but also how expensive it was just eating out. For those people that say it's expensive being vegan, it's expensive eating healthy, please just let me tell you, your health and being vegan and being an activist and speaking up for the animals depends on you being healthy. It depends on you having the energy. It depends on you having the vitality to encourage other people to see why actually being healthy is important in so many other ways, not just for being vegan, but for helping us expand and to really grow. So I won't keep going on. I'll just keep making these points because I want to get through to the other points. So now we've touched on activism. And the cube, at the cube. Now initially it was supposed to be 168 hours. It changed because they couldn't get permits for Times Square, and also because of what what people have experienced and probably the views given about the two 24-hour ones and the 12-hour ones that I've been to, and the couple or so that I haven't been to, or the more than that I haven't, is that, hello Margarita, is that they obviously learned that it probably wouldn't be a particularly good idea to go through the night. Save people's energy for the day. As it turned out, the weather was really, really hot. It got into the 90s towards the back end of the week. Felt in the hundreds. And if you work in or you operate in degrees centigrade, that means it was in the mid-30s and felt in the 40s. It was that hot. on one day's event during the day, I don't know because I wasn't there the whole day. Hello, Karen. Karen, I'm so glad you're watching, and I hope Lily's watching too. I'm so really disappointed that I didn't get to see you on the Saturday. I wanted to do the live feed from the morning and then do a live feed in the afternoon. But the way things worked out, and I'm talking about the heat specifically, and about the activism in the cube, is that I couldn't cope. Um, I was only able to do 2 hours in the morning and couldn't cope with the temperature. And so went off for something to eat and also be in where it was cooler, and was able to get food in me. And I'm just explaining about the cube and why we weren't in Times Square, why it wasn't 168 hours, why we had to move around different locations because of permits, and then realising that where we were ultimately at the end of the week was the best place to be, or the optimal place to be, because of the temperatures combined with the footfall meant that Union Square was definitely the best place to be in terms of both. But having also mentioned that people had funded me through a GoFundMe to get me to New York and be there and be part of such a really wonderful event. At the beginning of the week, when I registered online, it was told that people would be helped out if they needed help with funding. That they would try and help with funding. Now, when we got there, or a few days before getting there, it said that it would just be for the volunteers that were with the red lanyards, I think. And I had a conversation with Paul about why we should look to encourage activists to find healthier options at these sort of events as well, and include them in the list of places to go, and therefore try and say to the owners or the managers or the proprietors, whatever name they are, to say, look, we want to encourage our activists to eat healthier, but we want them to encourage ethics as well. So it would be really wonderful if we could add you to the list and get discounts. Because I actually, before I left the UK, I'd found, or I'd been made aware, or through the internet, I came across a raw food restaurant, or two, one of which I preferred the look of than the other. And I finally got there on the Tuesday afternoon, and I did 2 live feeds from there on the Tuesday afternoon. And even before I ordered my food, and this was, and then I mentioned it on the first of on the live feeds, this place was without doubt the best restaurant I've ever come across in my life. Because of the menu, the way that the menu looked, but what was on the menu, the wide variety of the menu, the prices for the food. And once the food came, then while it might look expensive, it was actually very, very worthwhile and wasn't that expensive compared to what I would pay for in other places, which wasn't raw, which was heavily processed. Um, and this is why I mentioned about where I've been today, buying the food, because it was really important to state that actually it isn't as expensive to eat raw and healthy as people think, and to eat vegan. Um, and and so this is why I think I owe people, especially everyone who's helped me with the two funds to get me to New York, and is helping me with the cancer fund that was set up to help me acquire food and medicine and other things to get me healthy so that my body will fight this cancer. Um, so anyway, having talked with Paul about this, he understands why it's important, and anyway, later in the week, he came up to me, and this is the first time I've told anyone, because I wanted to include it in the video that sums up everything about the whole week, from where I've been and when I've got back, and discuss many things that happen from it. As I've said right at the beginning, some people will like, some people won't. But I'm honest, and I tell things as it is. So anyway, this is the first time that I've mentioned this to anyone, but I want it to be known, because I hear so much shit said about Paul and Asal and the AV movement. I'm not one of the volunteers, and whilst I hold anarchic tendencies, I go along to the Cube, which people know runs on a particular way that goes against how I am, but I go along and I work with them, getting the results that we need, using much of what they suggest, but I apply my own anarchic methods in order to get results. And they know that. Paul knows it, and George knows it, because I talk to them about it. And as I said, about the other issues, I mean, anyone who knows me for any short period of time will know that I'm not just a vegan, but I seriously explain why we need to get rid of this monetary system, not just for the benefit of humans, but also for the benefit of animals, so that we can get this animal liberated world that we're all fighting for. Veganism is doing great, but that's because of capitalism. Capitalism is allowing us to have it. It's not helping with animal liberation. It's enabling people to buy plant-based versions of what they were eating when they were, like me, a necrovore. But those foods do not help with health. And unfortunately, there's too many people saying, and by being vegan, you can be healthy. Now, first off, most of us should know, and I do, even though I do talk about health, we should know that veganism is about animal liberation, and in speciesism. It's not about our health, and it's not about the environment. Being vegan can help with those, depending on what you eat. But it's important, as I've explained earlier, why we're healthy, for the animals and for ourselves. So this is where I'm starting to explain. But before I get too far into this, I actually want to explain why I mentioned Paul and Sal. Because having had this conversation with Paul about raw and getting healthier food places added to this list to give people the option and also to get that discounted, I think it was when we were still at Flatiron. In fact, I know it was when we were still at Flatiron. So it was one of the days when we were there. Now, as it finished as I was in Boston on the Monday, and it Flatiron, the Tuesday, we were away from Flatiron for Tuesday, it must have been the Sunday. But Paul came up to me and he said that he'd had a conversation with us all about what we'd talked to, and said, we can't help you out with the with getting the discount anywhere because of whatever. It really needed to be done beforehand. But we can help you out with some money towards getting food and that. And I was blown away. I mean, that was absolutely wonderful. They didn't have to do that, you know. So for anyone who does like to criticise Paul and Sal, for whatever reason, and AV, for whatever reason, I've told you there are things that, because of my anarchic tendency, don't sit well with me, but because I see it as a really powerful, effective way of activism for the animals, and they take a non-apologist abolitionist stance, then just because I might not see eye to eye with every issue about it, I can apply myself to it in my own way, taking the best of what it stands for and help get results. Which, thanks Karen. Please watch the rest of the video later and then please share it. Thank you, because there's going to be lots of good stuff in here to help people. Hope you have a good day, and say bye to Lily for me. And I'm really pleased that we made friends, and I really wish that I could have said goodbye to you before I left New York, but we didn't. Have fun. Okay, so now I'll keep on. So yeah, so despite all of that, for me, and I've done many different types of activism, and I still do, although obviously because of the cancer, I haven't been adding anything to other than that which I'd already planned and arranged from earlier in the year. I have 2 more events left. One of them is the 12-hour cube in Southend in Essex, which I'd said I was going to do way back in December when Connor was talking about it. I really want to go and support it. And just like I wasn't able to do all of the 168-hour cube in New York, which ultimately turned out to be 8 12-hour cubes instead at 96 hours, because of, it just not really being worth it going through the night. We wouldn't get really great results, from people who might either be the possibility of being pissed or high or not interested and with the heat and the long days as it was a really good decision. So there's another reason, AV for me and Paul and ASAP, they're constantly looking at improving. It's just they have a particular stance of abolition, and that's my stance, and my perspective on animal activism, and that's why I do so much with them. But I do as I said, I do other events. I've got the 12-hour Cube coming up in London, in Southend, in a couple of weeks. And then the week after that, it's the big Animal Rights March in London. And then the week after that, my guided water fast is underway. I have already been asked to do events throughout from the new year, especially from the new year, because that's why I did some of them. I meant from the point where I got the diagnosis and said that I would add no more. I have been asked to many. I'm sorry if I've not responded or just said can't go or haven't or I've just clicked ignore. It's purely and simply because I didn't want to. If I added one of you, then I'd have to add everyone, and this applied to people who I know really well and have done lots of activism with, and people who I admire and respect very much for what they do, the length of time that they've done it, but also for the people that are relatively new who are setting up events and I don't know so well. It didn't matter who you were. If I did it for one, then I'd feel obliged to do it for everyone that invited me to an event. So I chose, for my health, to give myself a break, not to do any more. And that's the way it's going to stay now. And because I need to get to really relax and rest, get myself prepared for these final two events, but also to get myself prepared for the guided water fast, because not only is it going to be a guided water fast and then a re-food to once we've got rid of all of the toxic, hello John, shit that's in my body, and I have to follow this protocol very seriously and be open to learning and to being coached, and I have to prepared to maintain it once I'm back. Otherwise, it's a waste of all of the people who are helping me heal, what they've contributed, and it's also not respecting the fact that someone gave up the chance to have it, another one, and let me have it instead, and make it possible for me to do that, to have it. So, as I said, there's many people here to thank and help, and try and get people to see in different perspectives why, absolutely everything is connected, and why I do what I do, and why I say what I say, and this is why I do. It's not because I'm better than any of you or anyone, because I'm not. It's because I've met so many of you who've helped me learn. You really have helped me learn in so many different ways. My activism, the way that I do it, take much calmer approach over a period of time. Yeah, and I'm not going to apologise. I'll still be that in-your-face guy when it needs to be. But I've learned to become much calmer from so many of you by listening to you, watching you, observing you. I learned so much, and yet so many of you don't realise it. And you don't realise that every time you donate money into a fund or you make wonderful comments, that I'm humbled by this because I've learned it from you. And what you see in me is yourself. You see the beauty that is you. You know, and this is why I'm doing this live feed, because I need to let you know. You can hear it in my voice. Okay, I know the cancer has fucked my voice up a little bit. This is why I need to rest, so that I can give myself the opportunity to take the stress off my voice. That's why I'm doing this live feed, because there's so much that I wanted to say. Now, talking again about the cube and how it's wonderful, there were things that I don't like about it, and one of that happened the other day, and I actually felt like that I never want to do activism again. It happened on the Friday, but I went away. I had something to eat, even though it caused me problems, and I needed help with that. I went away and I had a good sleep, and when I woke, well, I wouldn't say it was a good sleep, but I had a bit of sleep, and I had the time to think. And when I woke up in the morning, I went back to the cube and decided, okay, what do I do in usual situations if somebody is at an event and something happens that either that person doesn't like me or I don't like that person? What do? Well, I go to the event and I just ignore the person. You know, that way I don't make any contact. That way they can't think that there's any way back for them, unless they actually say to someone, they want to engage with me and they want to solve the problem. As far as I'm concerned, nobody has to like me. I'm not here to be liked. So if I am liked, thank you very much. If I'm not, I don't give a fuck. And I don't, whilst I say I don't give a fuck whether I'm liked, don't take that the wrong way. It's if you don't like me, I don't mind. If you do, I appreciate it. But the fact that we're friends is the important thing, because that means it's easier for us to work together. But this is my point. I can work at events, any event, with people that I don't like. And I've done it on numerous occasions. People that don't like me. I just won't engage. Because we have to remember, guys, what the fuck are we there for? Who are we there for? We're there for victims of human ignorance, human greed, human exploitation, human use, human selfishness. If we don't go to an event because there's someone there that we don't like or who doesn't like us, then we're not helping those animals. And we're actually showing what the system does to the animals, but also does to us. Because all of those things that are happening to other animals are for money. And the same reason that we exploit each other is for money. This is why I advocate resource-based economy. It's why I advocate the Venus Project. It's why I say I can tell you about it, but the best way to learn about it is to watch it and learn about it yourself. Go to their website, ask them the questions. I can give you my version of the answers to questions based on what I see and what I learned from it. But I want you to understand it from the people who know more about it than I do. Because like veganism, like animal rights, like animal liberation, like whatever, I'm still learning about so much more. So it's always best to go to the source of the information to get the optimal information. I'm just like with veganism and animal activism and liberation, I'm just here to guide other people towards that. So I will guide people towards learning about resource-based economy and the Venus Project and where to learn about it and why it's important to go to their website and learn about it and why it's important for the animals. Because it will mean that when we have access to everything that we need to live and survive and thrive that the planet has in abundance, and we can apply and we can end all needless suffering, then we can apply that same thinking to all other animals. We apply this system allied with veganism right across the board. Why should we be fighting to end other animal suffering or only fighting to end human suffering when all suffering is suffering and is needless and we can end it? And this is the way that Jacques Fresco would look at solving a problem. He would apply whole brain thinking, whole system thinking. What's the root cause of this problem? Okay, well, in solving that problem, these other problems would come along. So what are we going to do to solve those? And that's the way that he would look at it. But because the root cause of all of these problems is the same thing, when you apply whole thinking, whole system thinking to solving the problem, then it means that we'll deal with all of the problems at the same time. It won't be a case of sticking plaster either. It won't be a case of finding out how can we solve this problem within the problem itself. How do we get rid of it? We get rid of the system that causes the problem. So this is why I'm saying that. And this will help other animals. And this is why it's important to understand. Because the more we learn about it and the related issues that will be dealt with it, about how will we grow more food, or how in a resource-based economy we would grow more food to make to meet a possible growing population, how we would cut down on other resources, but also how that growing of other food would apply to the non-use of animals, because we won't need to use animals because we'll be able to produce food all year round, everywhere on the planet, for everyone, using hydroponics and vertical farming, and so many different ways which will reduce waste. Because there'll be no price tag, everyone would have access to it, so we won't waste something like 40% of food that we do at the moment that's grown because people can't afford to buy it because they've got no money, or because it's being grown to feed animals, to feed humans, when if we'd have just ate the plants in the first place, we wouldn't have wasted so much. So there's so many. I could go into all of the sub-issues, but when you see how this connects to actually the activism that we do for animals, then you begin to realise this is what makes us more effective activists, because we eliminate more and more the excuses that people have got for not going vegan. So this is why I do this. This is why I do these live feeds. So, and that's what I mean about going. Yes, there was a negative that I didn't like Hail Carol on Friday, but I still went to the Cube on Saturday. Unfortunately, I couldn't stay, and the person that I had the problem with was there. I just totally ignored him, and he didn't speak to me either. So what I'm saying is, fuck your arguments with whoever. Go out and do activism. Forget they're there. Hopefully they'll forget you're there. And don't engage. Don't let that sort of thing get in the way of being an activist and speaking up for the animals. This is what we do. You know, being vegan's great, but it's a non-action thing. Activism is what actually gets people to change. And so that's why we should all be looking to do more activism or begin some activism. And so that's dealt with the Cube thing, it's dealt with the issue of the food. As I said, there were other things about New York that I didn't like. There were wonderful things that I liked. But as I said, I met some amazing musicians. I met some amazingly open-minded people who were interested in both animal liberation and veganism. And obviously I talked with them about the health issues as well. But they were also open about the resource-based economy thing. You know, and this is the point. But listening to people who were playing wonderful music, watching people play instruments, people who were making raw food, people who are helping people, help more people to help change the world so that we get rid of the sort of things that we don't like. You know, there's no point in moaning and complaining about people's behaviour if we've got a system that creates the shitty fucking behaviour and we're not doing anything about ending the system. You know, laws don't do anything to stop crime. You know, think about the Bible and thou shalt not kill, thou shalt not steal, thou shalt not this, thou shalt not that, thou shalt not this. Well, didn't really work, does it, guys? Because people are doing that. Why? We have a system that puts people in positions where they will do what they need to get, the things they need to get. So this is another thing that resource-based economy will deal with. And this is how it will help with veganism. People won't need to do a job killing animals for any purpose because they'll be able to get what they need just like anyone else is doing a job they don't really want to do. And that's most people, because most people who I've asked, who have told me they love their job, when I've said to them, well, we'll see how, okay, if you love your job that much, will you do it for nothing? And nearly every single one of them has said no. They've actually said no. Well, if you don't love your job enough to do it, then you don't fucking love your job. And people will say to me, yeah, but if I don't do a job, I won't get money. I say, oh, yeah, but that's the point of the resource-based economy. It's about automating jobs that could and should be automated to free us up to do the things that we really want. And if we can produce the food and we all have access to what we need, whatever it is, whether it's entertainment, whatever it is that you think you really need, then you could get it. But in a system that won't demand you do anything other than contribute what you want to contribute to a creative, changing world, then you'll get what you need. It's as simple as that. You'll have access to it. You won't pay for it. You won't be forced to do things. Just imagine a world where no one's forced to kill anyone else. You know, whether that's another animal or another human, because there's no need for war, because we'll all have access to the resources we need, because we'll have actually learned that when we share everything with everyone, then we make less, we won't have to fight over it, because we won't be using it when we don't need it. We'll only make the best. If you want to know more about resource-based economy, please ask me, or so that we can have a talk about this. We can meet up, because that's the other thing. Having this illness enabled me to spend time with other people in their home, talking about friendship, why we don't get the time to spend with each other, you know, as friends and our loved ones, how they're on rushed one-off occasions every now and then. You know, I want to talk to people about this. I want to be able to see what you can do that's so creative that will help us change the world, so that we're all going to benefit. The kids are going to benefit. The animals are going to benefit. You know, that we get rid of many of the ecological problems that are affecting us all. You know, and I've been told that I'm a fucking extremist. This is in a legal situation, not something that I've been involved in specifically. You know, not that in the court case, or the court cases, that these things, these three things were mentioned. But 3 different judges, because of legal cases brought against friends, family, people that I regard as family almost. You know, I've been called an extremist because I don't want to see animals murdered for any purpose. I want to see an end to all human suffering. I want to see, hello Sarah, I want to see humans having access to everything that we need when we need it. I want to see, without a price tag, without any form of subservience, without any form of price tag, whether that's trade, credit, barter, whatever, physical money, whatever. I want to be able to say that I've at least contributed to a world where we've all benefited, human and other animal, and actually realise that we could have done this years ago. I could have been doing this sort of thing years ago. Now I am. All the learning that I've done, whether it was at school, you know, the indoctrination, or all the learning and the real education that I got outside of school, from the people that I've met, the experiences that I've had, the travel that put me in their places to meet people, you know, that was my best education. Travel, and all of the people that I've met, and the things that I've learned about, that have brought around change in me, you know, that have helped me become vegan, that have helped me become an activist. The inspiration of really well-known people to become an activist, but also now working with other activists, many who get no recognition of whatsoever. These people are my inspiration now, as well as those activists from whatever field they were involved in, if they're no longer with us, or whatever field they are still involved in. It's the ones that I work with, the people that I've met, The people who, just like me, are ordinary Joe and Jill, or Jack and Jill, or Jack and Jack, or whatever the relationship you may be having or not having, every single activist that I've met, I am just another version of you. And I am so proud to have worked with you. And that goes for the ones, or for those activists I don't like and I don't get on with. I am glad that I have worked with you, whatever the cause, because it's the cause that's the important thing, not you and me. When we get to benefit from all of this, and the animals get to benefit from all of this, then, yeah. But, right now, it's just about the cause, whatever the cause. And in my case, my three main causes are veganism, animal liberation, ending speciesism, resource-based economy, and the movement for indefinite life extension and halting the aging process, and physical immortality. And some of you might say, well, why would you be asked with that? And I would say, well, think about it. You know, we're fighting to see a world free of animals being used and exploited by us. Many of you who tune in are. There will be others of you tuning in who are really working hard for that, and or the Venus Project and resource-based economy, which would benefit specifically us, but the way I see it and apply it will help animals too. So if we could live in a world that we've helped create, where we know wherever we're going to go, everywhere, we've stamped out animal exploitation and use. And we've ended, hello James, and we've ended all human suffering, and everyone has access to what they need, when they need it, wherever they are, whoever they are, then the world is going to start seeming and seeing a far different place than the world we live in which we live now. And we might even find that we start getting on with people more, because we don't have to compete with each other. We're not forced to compete. We start cooperating. We're already showing it in so many different ways. And once we start cooperating with each other again, and we start realizing, do you know what, all that work we've done, we've put in the work, we've helped achieve this, and we've helped achieve this, we might actually start seeing each other for the wonderful human beings that we are, and we might hopefully then start putting an end to the feuds that we've got, that we have in this system, because we don't see eye to eye over other issues. So there's so many reasons then for why I especially, and if you learn about all of the life extension groups, longevity groups, immortality groups, and the people working in those areas, allied with all the people working in other areas of technology, the world, you know, and you come across people like Ray Kurzweil, no, I'm sure I've got his name wrong there, and the singularity possibly by around 2030, or bit before then, bit before after then, um, and so many other things that we could have had decades ago if it wasn't for the lack of will on our own part, also on the part of governments, the lack of will on the corporations, basically because the government still want to have, and corporations still want to have control over us. This is ridiculous, but we're all learning more and more now. We can't hide from it, so we really do need to change this system. And out of everything I've seen, then this is the optimal, because not one other system that I've seen for change actually brings around something that would benefit everyone. Even if we still don't all get on, we'll still all be able to benefit. And yes, I know I've been waffling, but it's really important that I actually say this, because I've got a what you call those sort of voice recording machines. Someone suggested, because I was going to write a book, because someone suggested it about my experiences, etc., etc. I got a dictaphone, yes, a dictaphone, so that I could say things into it as it was coming into my mind. And I don't actually have it on me. You see, this is one of those points that I was making about. I'm not always using it, so I don't always have it with me. So I'm doing this right now as a live feed, so that I can talk about some of these issues, and I can save the video and see it another time, and realise I've got all this information there that's going to go as part of the book. But it also helps other people learn about it now. And this is the point. We should be sharing what we're learning as we learn it. Don't wait to become an expert in the field. Just keep learning about it and keep sharing it, because the more we do that, we can then keep getting on with learning more, and other people can start learning about it. And it's such a good way to learn. So there's all of these issues that needed to be mentioned in this one feed, because they're all connected to each other. And it was all to do with my last week in New York. So, as I've said, I've dealt with issues about the food, the fact that I don't like it, I didn't really like it. I've dealt with so many issues, costliness. So if anyone's watching now and you weren't watching earlier, please share it, watch it all, because I've dealt with quite a few issues there. Some that some people might not consider yet. But again, every aspect of what I've talked about tonight, I hope that I've given a positive spin on it, even if it's things that I don't like, or that happen that I don't like. I've still turned it into a positive, and this is what I have to do.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for your, someone's just said, yep, as he walked past, guy that walked, that was funny. So me being me, I just sort of thank him. Coincidence, I know. Probably was speaking to someone on the phone, but it was a coincidence the way he said, yeah, turning everything into a positive. That doesn't mean to say that I'm not going to talk about the issues. We have to accept these issues are a problem for us all, just because we might not see them as that. What surprised me about New York, Sarah, it wasn't the heat. I knew it was going to be very hot. I think it was actually the fact that not everyone said, have a nice day. um, quite a few people did, but I didn't engage with them at all on that level. I think what I like most, the surprise, if you watch some of the feeds that I did from the weekend on the Sunday in Central Park, and also the ones that I've done from the restaurant, I think what you get from me when I'm doing live feeds is that I actually want to make them about more than just me. I want to make them about issues. And I want to make them about why I talk about these issues and why I share this stuff. And I notice different perspectives of me, depending on where I am and with whom I'm engaged. When I'm in places that like the raw food restaurant, for instance, about health, it's something I resonate with. It's something I advocate, it's something I'm learning more about, it's something that I'm going to do. It's something I'm taking responsibility for, my health, which is why it's non-conventional. And this applies to anything else. I met some wonderful musicians on Saturday night, and they had no problems sitting there, let me listen to them jam, telling them how wonderful I thought they were, that they're genius, the music was wonderful, but I couldn't believe that people didn't stop and listen to them, just because it was getting dark in the park. These were fucking genius. I shared my medicine with them, and
These piles are put down well.
there were just, then there was a guy I met in the park on the morning, on my first occasion in there, who actually helped me find out where the lake was, and then when I found where the lake was, and I'm doing a part of the live feed from there, I actually see him arrive, and then I promised him I'll come back on the Sunday morning in order to do a live feed of him singing and playing the guitar. He was a wonderful guy. There was a couple I sat next to in a restaurant whilst it wasn't raw. It was the first place that I'd actually been able to eat the meal fully. It was a pizza, a vegan pizza, obviously. It was soft enough. I couldn't eat the actual crust around the edge. But I met this couple. Hello again, Olivia, Bernadette. Hello, Fiona. I met this couple, and they were, this is what makes me the activist that I am. If I'm sitting eating or I'm sat on a train journey somewhere and I haven't got music in, or wherever I'm going, and I'm sat somewhere, stood somewhere long enough in a location, and people are having a conversation, I can't help but overhear sometimes. And so I get involved by asking, I can't help but hearing you were talking about this. It happened on the Sunday afternoon in a Chinese place that I'd heard did some really good vegan food. And I went and they did steamed food and not everything had to be cooked in oil and stuff. So, and I'm hearing people talk, so I engage in conversations and give them cards with information about being vegan, and also information about the resource-based economy. And we end up having amazing conversations. You know, this is what I mean. People have helped me get somewhere. And while I might not like things about it, this is why I'm doing this live feed. And I've been doing it for a while and this is why I want people to share it and actually watch it from the beginning when they go away, because in a way they are responsible for the live feed. Andy was responsible for setting the GoFundMe up that got me to New York, but everybody who contributed to it, in whatever the donation was, whether it went into the fund or whether it was outside of the fund, they've helped me meet some amazing people and have some amazing experiences, and to talk about issues that are actually affecting us all. So this is why I'm doing it. I owe everybody these videos. You all paid for this. I don't owe you it in terms of the system. I owe it in terms of sharing the experiences that I gleaned and gained only because you enabled me to be there. And the same's going to happen with the health one. You know, this is why I'm sharing whatever is happening with me, because you're all part of this. And if I can help other people heal their lives by taking this route and going down through all of this activism and the things that I've learned and shared, then this is what I'm supposed to be doing in my terms. Not in a fucking God, karma, spiritual, whatever. Just, this is what humans should be doing. We should all be doing this. We should be helping each other get healthy. We should be helping animals not be exploited. We should help get rid of this system that's exploiting humans and other animals and causing us to be ill and causing ecological degradation. If I can help one other person, just one person, heal their life, you know, from a health perspective, that helps them end animal exploitation even further, then I've done what I wanted to do. I've actually set myself this thing that I want to be part of changing the world, along with everyone else who wants to take it in a forward-thinking way so that nobody misses out. I don't want to compete with anyone for anything. I want us all to get there. I want us all to overcome this mediocrity thinking. I want us all to be able to really be free to live a life of abundance, of caring, of creativity, where we're all contributing one way or another to actually eradicating poverty, war, crime, animal exploitation, needless suffering, environmental degradation, corruption, anything else that you can think that has a detrimental effect on other animals, us, or the planet upon which we all depend, then I want to be part of changing that world, helping others to change that so that we get the world that we all want. I know this has been a long feed, and I know someone has come in on a couple of times. But please share this. And let people learn more about resource-based economy and veganism, or a mixture of the combination of both. It's through people like yourselves who I've listened to and I've watched and who have spoken to me, some of you harshly, but I'm glad you spoke harshly. Whatever it was, whether you're still doing it now or not, I'm glad I'm not. That's smoking, drinking, eating animals, going to football, any of what I used to do, and that I'm not doing it, then, and you still are, and you say to me, well, you've changed, especially if you haven't seen me and know me as that person, and say, I've changed. I say, well, I'm fucking glad one of us has. If you're relatively new to my sphere of whatever it is, well, Sarah, you've said it. You've certainly affected our life journey. I hope now that everyone I come across, even if it's not in a more gentle approach, if it is a sterner, more frank approach, and I've affected your journey so that you become, or your life's journey, that's not particularly a word I choose.
Why are you filming us?
I'm not filming you. No, I'm not filming you. I'm doing live feed for myself, talking about why our species is the shittiest species on this planet and destroys all human beings and all animals. I have no interest in you whatsoever.
Okay, no problem. Have a nice day.
Oh, look, we get the typical bullshit New York shit that they get from watching fucking shit. So, oh, I do think that was so funny. Hello, Ruth. Because that's exactly what they needed to hear. You fucking self-centered fuckers. Go on, just get out of here. I'm actually talking about changing the world and you're worried about, well, they're filming us. Go on, get away, you dimwits. Anyway, so yes, I'm actually, I have improved my activism in so much, and there's evidence that no, I'm not going to change that approach when it's needed. And that's really annoyed me, so I'm just going to calm down now. I'm still going to be here. Please stay with me and comment whatever you feel like. But yes, Sarah, as I was saying, I hope I've affected the way you see things in a way that, and because I've got to know you so well, and I appreciate what you and I've just mentioned about the initial letter of a Christian of tea, and I know by just listening and spending time with you that you're open-minded people and that you will take things like this on board. And this is why I enjoy talking to my friends like this, because I don't want to have a fucking YouTube account. I don't want to be seen as something that people can monetize. When I talk to you, I actually want you to know that this is live. Okay, if you're only seeing it shared, well then it's just something that's been recorded. But when When you hear me live, then you actually hear me. You know that what you're going to get is honest, and that I can have this conversation with you. And I'm going to talk about these issues. And this is the point, is that from when we talk to each other, I learn about things as well. And this is my point. When we share this with each other, we're going to constantly help change the world, because when we're sharing more and more knowledge, it's about getting other people to question, and we're going to incorporate it when we talk with other people. So, and this is what I mean. So, I want people to feel like that I've affected them in a way that they are going to go out and affect other people in bringing around change, whatever that change may be, whether it's them not using animals anymore, whether it's actually about them caring about their own health more and really becoming more involved in being responsible for their health, helping them heal themselves. Not, you see, when I used to smoke, this is the way that I look at it, and I talk to people about it now. When I used to smoke and drink and do all of these things, I didn't realise just what I was doing, because I was only seeing it from my gratitude, my perspective. It was only when I'd stopped and I would see friends or people that maybe I was in a relationship with doing this, and I would think, how do I get them to stop or to think about stopping without doing what my parents did or said whilst they were actually had a cigarette in their hand? My parents would tell me, it's not good for me, smoking's bad for you. But while they were telling me that, they've both got them in their hands. They both were heavy smokers. They would both be drinking. So they would be telling me things, but sending out mixed messages. So what I learned was I had to find different ways in which to talk to people about this and not say that it's bad for you. I remember I got asked to do an interview for a magazine in Liverpool when I was painting on, because that's where I started painting on old televisions and computer monitors. And I got spotted, and someone asked me whether they could do an article, and I agreed, yeah. And someone wanted to do photographs, and so they were put together, and so it was interesting that happened. But the woman who who actually wrote the article, because it's different than the person who wanted to do the photographs. We were walking up the road one day together, and she said, "Do you want a cigarette?" And I said, "No." And she said, "Why not?" I said, "Because I don't anymore." She said, "No." I said, "Yes, I've stopped." What I said to her was that I began to realise, why am I paying people to kill me? Why am I actually giving money to kill me? Why have I been working hard to give money to people to kill me? And all they're doing is getting richer and richer and richer. And they're trying to use some of that money to find laws, to fight laws.
Do you have 20 pence?
I don't, I'm sorry, I haven't got any change.
Sorry.
Hold on a minute. Here. Hold out your jacket. Hold out your jacket. hold out your jacket so I can put some cherries into it.
Oh, okay.
So there you go. I can give you some cherries. I don't have any change on me.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye. Um, isn't it interesting? The different sort of people that come up and what the system does. I clearly see this world so differently. I do feel like an alien. Someone asked me today, what's your opinion on aliens? I said, well, I might be one, so, or no, I think I actually said I am one. I feel so much like one in this world. But anyway, so what was I talking about there? Oh, fuck. That's why I don't like people interrupting. And when I am talking with people, you know, when they've got something to say, hold on, you know, I don't interrupt them because I want to hear what they're saying. So yeah, I think it was something to do with about why I talk to people. Oh yes, I know. It was the cigarettes and smoking and once when I wasn't, and then I'd see these friends, I had to realise, what am I doing? And that was it. And so I said to her, why was I giving all this money to people who were killing me? And then started to realise that on a bigger scale, a long time ago, hello Nina, why am I been working my arse off to earn this money from an institution that creates debt so that I can then go and give it to other institutions all connected to them to help kill me. And then it was when I got involved with a woman, and she was a bit older than me, and she had a daughter, and I was there one night, and they were both smoking and both drinking, and I recognised how I did both, you know, why I did both and why I found it difficult to stop one. It was because I realised I used to do one with the other. I mean, there was a time when I could smoke anywhere between 30 and 60 cigarettes a day. This was when I was in Spain. Working in bars for 3 summers. Just the summertime I'd go elsewhere, although each summertime I managed to prolong so that I didn't have to come back here for as long. But yeah, I did. When I was in Spain, I could smoke between 30 and 60 cigarettes a day. I might drink 30 bottles of San Miguel a night, along with as well as a full bottle of Bacardi. My cannabis addiction started then, but 18 years ago I realised I've got to stop the lot, and I stopped them all together. And it was when I did them all together, Ruth, that I think really helped. Plus it was actually getting away from the people that I used to do it with. You know, what we do when we know someone drinks or smokes, we want to keep in touch with them. No, these are people doing what we do. So I had to get away from them. We're enablers. They enable us, we enable them. And this is how we've got to start looking at things differently. You know, we try and solve many of these problems using the methods that we use in our thinking that created them. We've got to go beyond this. And, oh, terrible, Sarah. I mean, I had a doctor regarding the smoking. His fingers were yellower than mine. Mine were hardly yellow at all. And there's a fucking doctor telling me smoking's not good for you. I've only got about 15% battery left on my phone, so I'm going to try and get through as much as I can here. Please stay with me, and then share the video once you have, because you're all part of helping the world change just by doing this. So anyway, what I said to this mother and her daughter, instead of saying it's bad for her, because I had to think of another way, what I did was, I looked, this is how I do it now, I look at it from me. What I said was, when I smoked, when I was, when I smoked or whatever, or drank, I didn't realise just how little I didn't like me, and that I was copying what other people who didn't like themselves were doing. And this is where, if you read books by, and certainly get the chance to listen to him, whether he's live, hi Emma and Dimitri, whether you get the chance to listen to him live or on his videos. But Gabor Mate, M-A-T-E, he talks about addicts, and he's worked with some serious people with some serious addictions, and that includes heavy use of drugs, etc., etc. What he says is that in nearly virtually every addict is the victim of abuse. Addicts use these substances as a coping method, and he said, and the thing is, some of the addictions that we glorify and idolize are the worst addictions because they affect everybody. Things like cocaine, heroin, alcohol, cigarettes don't necessarily affect everyone. Hi May. But money, hi Rebecca, money, power, consumerism, this affects everyone. And I wish whoever's trying to ring me would go away. Private number, hi Mo, thank you for the welcome back. So yeah, what was I? Someone give me a quick reminder what I was saying, I've just lost it there. Oh yeah, I know I was talking about these addictions that we glorify. All of these addictions, hi Gloria, all of these addictions, these really affect us all in ways. Because if we can't get what we want, you see, that's it. You know, we know of the drug addicts and the alcoholics and all of the homeless people who can't get what they want, and then they'll do whatever they can to get it. These are victims of this system. But see what the people who glorify the acceptable the acceptable addictions and things do. The money, the power, the control, what this has on everyone. And then you see what they do? These people kill, lie, cheat. They make laws to have the homeless and the drug addict and the alcoholic put away. But they're making money out of some of the worst addictions of the lot. So this is why we have to start thinking, and we have to help each other learn these things. And maybe he's not the best at it, but this is why I say, go and watch some of these videos. Go and watch the Venus Project. Learn about resource-based economy. See how it will help us get rid of these. It doesn't deal by getting rid of the symptom, which homelessness is, which addiction is, which crime is, which whatever the symptom is, the problem, they're the symptoms. Let's get rid of the root cause. Let's get rid of the system that creates the conditions for addictions. Let's create a system where we have access to what we need, healthy food when we need it, accommodation that can be built in ways way beyond what we have, transport systems that are much cleaner, faster, more efficient. Let's start helping each other help in so many different ways, because when we do that, we're all going to then start helping the animals so much more effectively as well, because we're going to be helping other people, we're going to help ourselves, we're going to create a movement that as we become healthier, we're going to become more ethical, we're going to see why it's so important that we connect with more and more people to create the critical mass, and that's what we need. We need critical mass, which is around 3.5 to 4% of a population to bring around social change. Now let's just see what that would bring around when we incorporate resource-based economy thinking and vegan thinking and help people realize why both of them are important to other animals and the human animal. Look guys, I think that phone call might be someone did want to get in touch with me because there's a message being left. I don't want to listen to it in public. It might just be one of those shitty hoax calls, but because I've only got about 15% left and my voice is going, thank you everyone for tuning in. Thank you, please, for your comments. Please share this. Please learn more. As I said, alright, whenever I share anything with you, whether it's a written post, or a live feed post, or a video post, it's because I'm sharing stuff that we all need to learn about and share with others, because I actually want to get so fit and healthy that I actually want to live in the world that we can create. Why aren't we? I know. Why aren't we doing everything we can to bring around these worlds for others and ourselves so that we can all actually experience what it will be like to live in those worlds and then see how far we evolve from there. Thank you very much, Sarah and Jan and May and Noel and Ruth and everyone, Gloria and Rebecca and Emma and Dimitri and Olivia and Bernadette and Nina and Fiona. Every one of you, Carol, John, Karen and Lily, Margarita, Oliver, TJ, Sandra, Jan, Maria, Shelley, Jules, Becky, Sonia, Ursula, all right back at the beginning. Thank you so much. And if you're not in Southend for the 12-hour cube on August the 10th, if you are coming to London for the Big Animal Rights March on July the 17th, then I'll see you there. And that'll be my last chance to see you before I go off and do the water fast. But thank you so much everyone for watching in. And there's two things here. I'm not going to apologise ever for the way I am about all of these issues. I'm not going to apologise for learning about them. I'm not going to apologise for sharing them about them. I'm not going to apologise for how I sound about it. I'm not going to apologise for getting really ranty. I'm not going to apologise if people need a fucking good shout at. And I'm not going to apologise for saying thank you all for everything that you do, for your love and care and support, because you're all teaching me to love and to share and to care. All things that I know are important and things that I believe in, but because of so much shit that's happened into my life, has happened in my life, and is still happening in many ways, the love side is not something that I tend to show. But then when I think about it, if I didn't love, then I wouldn't do anywhere near what I do, because this is all about love. Love doesn't always necessarily mean things come in nice shiny packages. Love doesn't always mean it comes with a nice positive message. Sometimes love comes in an ugly carton like me, with bits missing, lot of flaws, lots of mistakes. Sometimes love comes from people who, the message has to be sometimes loud and almost angry, because sometimes people just don't listen when you're polite. And there is a really good quote about this that shows, I've used it on speeches before, but I think it's important to put it into a live feed here. If I'm correct, I think the quote comes from A.M. Leibovitz, and it says, you can tell when you're marginalised. Politeness brings refusal to listen, and anger brings demands for politeness. I remember one of the most angry outreaches I had. And I'll say it on camera, I'm sorry, if people get offended by this word, just don't get offended by it, it's the C word. So if you do get offended, you can always, I'm only going to use it once, and I'll say when I'm going to use it, so you can dip in and out. But anyway, I was doing some outreach in London, Trafalgar Square, and I called this guy a C. So here comes the C word. So I called this guy a cunt. And he's going on and on and on, and he's going on about vegans, and he said, all this rubbish. And anyway, what I've noticed is when I've engaged with people who really don't listen to a polite approach, is that when you make them angry, if you can keep them there and keep them arguing, eventually, one way or another, they're going to give you a lead in to talk to them about what you want to talk about while you're there. And for this guy, he kept going on, and he said, look, I go to the gym to work out. He said, and I need my protein. Bang! So, this is why it's important to listen to who you've got in front of you. Because, getting someone angry doesn't necessarily mean it's going to turn violent or confrontational. If you can get someone angry and they're going to listen and argue, you can turn it around. You can literally turn it around. By the time this conversation with this guy had finished, he actually shook my hand and said, do you know what, you told me so much I had no clue about. And that's my point. You know, there are forms of activism I won't do because it really isn't my thing at all. But when it comes to outreach, don't hold yourself back. If you ever find yourself in a situation where you need to say something to someone in a specific way, then just fucking do it. Because you never actually know how someone's going to react. And that's the point. You never always use the opportunity to say your message or what your message is about. Because if you make someone angry, they'll walk away. And if they're with another person, or more than one person, you know what they're going to do. They're going to talk about it. And in talking about it, they then have the possibility of going off and finding more about it. Just like it does when you talk to someone and you give them a card or you give them a leaflet or whatever it is that you give them. You've actually given them the opportunity to think about it. Because if something's not visible, we don't think about it. And if we're not thinking about it, we're not doing anything about it, or we can't do anything about it. And that's the point with so many issues. We have to start thinking differently and getting people to try and look at more creative ways of having their conversations. You know, I mean, I know people make a big thing about my t-shirts, but I'll tell you what, the amount of conversations I've had because of the t-shirts that I wear is incredible. Especially in New York, and I was there for a week. And there were loads of people reading the t-shirts and I'm having conversation with them. You know, as I said, I've been out today, I've been painting, and people have stopped because I had some of my other paintings out with me. And they've stopped and we're engaged in conversation. You know, these are all different things that we can do ourselves. You know, if you can find a way to do something that you find creative and use it as a form of activism, it's amazing, because then you don't have any rules. No one telling you that you can do it this way or that way or this way or that way or this way. You know, you decide. So anyway, I've just walked through it, or I'm in the area where it's full of junk food restaurants and other restaurants declaring themselves to be fine and Italian and whatever, and it really all stinks around here, and it's not good for my health, all the oil that's cooked from that. But I'm back to where I live, so thank you everyone for tuning in, and see you soon. And as I said, please share the video. Thank you so much, and I really do mean it. You know, it's everything you've all shown me, and the support and the care and the love and the attention is astonishing. Bye everyone. Thank you. Bye.